Hello! Welcome back, bitches! How y'all doing today? I got some fun shit to talk about today. Nice little movie review. You got Uncle Swag here. I'm here to talk to you about a motherfucking master. Christopher Nolan. I don't know if this guy gets enough credit. I mean, he does, but his name isn't listed up there with Tarantino's and Scorsese's and Spielberg's. And I don't know when this man's going to get his respect, you know? I'm here to talk about The Prestige with you guys. It's The Prestige. It came out in 2006. It was directed by Christopher Nolan, you guessed it. Written by his brother, Jonathan Nolan. They team up. It says a screenplay and shit written by both of them. I think Jonathan's the brains behind the organization writing-wise, but I'm not positive of it. So I won't go totally on the record with it, but he's a hell of a writer. He's written a lot of Christopher's great shit. Not Inception, but basically everything else. I want to say he wrote The Dark Knight. He wrote... let me think of some other ones. I don't know if he wrote all the Batman. I know he wrote The Dark Knight. I'm sorry, I'm blanking, guys. He wrote Interstellar. He wrote... did he write Memento? I want to say he did write Memento. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he wrote Inception, sorry. Anyways, guys. Jonathan Nolan, he's a beast too. Look him up if you're interested in writers and their dynamic. They have a hell of a duo going on. But so Christopher Nolan, man, this guy has made fucking bangers. Oh my goodness. Almost non-stop. It's Tarantino-esque. How amazing all of his movies are. Following Memento, The Prestige, all the Batman, obviously, Inception, Interstellar. I know I'm missing some too. I just have to look it up if I'm going to spit them all out there. They're all amazing. It's really unreal. So anyways, he did The Prestige, and this was my first time seeing it all the way through, and honestly, I think it's one of those ones you have to watch multiple times because it's fucking crazy. So, for starters, we had it's about magicians. So I like that. You know, when we're jumping off of the plot, it follows two dueling magicians. And I mean, you can't get more fucking dope than that. It takes place in what I guess in the early 1900s. I'm not sure. It features Tesla and Edison. They're part of the storyline. I don't know when electricity was invented. It must have been before. So it must have been the middle of the 1800s then. I'm not 100% great American history buff. But yeah, so I'm guessing middle of the 1800s. They're magicians who keep trying to one-up each other. They're obsessed with with being the best act, essentially, being the best magician. And it's Christian Bale, and it's Hugh Jackman is the dueling magicians, and you've got Michael Caine throwing in an awesome little side appearance, secondary character. You got my fucking number one lady crush of all time. I don't know if it'll ever change. I don't think anybody's beating Scarlett Johansson. Wow. I was harping on, I can't even remember her fucking name because I'm thinking of Scarlett Johansson. I was hyping on Emilia Clarke, watching that rom-com. Man, Scarlett Johansson just does stuff to me, dude. She was pretty good in her rom-com days. I'm thinking, let's see, which one am I thinking of? He's Just Not That Into You. She was fucking smoking that. I'm sure she was in some other ones. She was in that one with Bill Murray. That was awesome. Lost in Translation. Anyways, she's a fucking angel. I will not debate that. And I love her. And so she's in it too, and that's just a huge perk. And the side characters, I can't, sorry. Scarlett Johansson was in it. All you other side females, keep them, I can't even remember their names, and I know that's bad because the one was okay. But honestly, the other woman character was probably my least favorite actress in it. She's married to Christian Bale, and she has this one cheesy line where she goes, "Nope, not today, you don't love me." A lot of it's British. She's like, "You don't love me today, I can tell. Some days you mean it, but today you don't mean it." And, I kind of fucking gag when she says that, but whatever. Yeah, Christian Bale has this cool little, I guess it's British, but it's like so British that it's almost Irish. It's kind of funny. And he kills it. It's sick. So, I'll go right into it. The directing was, oddly enough, one of my least favorite parts of the movie. But that mostly speaks to how great this movie is. So I gave it an 8.5 out of 10, the directing. he does some cool stuff where he has a lot of very quick shots, which I liked when he did that, and he has a lot of actually that was stylistically pretty interesting. He had a lot of quick shots. He did a shaky camera for most of it, but I'm tempted to say actually I saw some influences on Aronofsky with some of their magician shows, you know, like Black Swan. I saw him almost pulled directly from this movie, it seemed. But then again, maybe that's just a showman's trope in cinematography. But so it was the dialogue, while it was quick and choppy and I enjoyed it, I wanted a little bit more stylistically. I think he played it a little safe, guys. I don't know. Again, I don't want to bash too hard because Christopher Nolan, he can do almost no wrong, and I would say he did very little wrong in this movie, but it wasn't amazing. And maybe it's unfair that I'm comparing it to all of his other movies, like The Dark Knight. That's a 10 out of 10 directing. He does some very impressive stuff there with a camera. He doesn't push the limits like that. Then again, it's 2006. It did have a $40 million budget, so he was still getting paid. He had plenty of money to do what he wanted. This is just the way he wanted to do it. I saw some M. Night Shyamalan in there. I think that would be Shyamalan influencing Christopher Nolan, kind of with Shyamalan does. I'm trying to think what exactly. Maybe just the focused foreground, the bare background, playing with the lighting. I'm trying to think what exactly, but I was struck by a little bit of Shyamalan, and also the writing was very Shyamalan too. This thing is filled with twists. It's unreal. So, the directing's an 8.5. I could bump it up to a 9. We'll see what I do by the time I post it, but yeah, 8.5, 9. There was some things to be fixed. I don't want to give him too much credit for it because I know how much better he will do in his career. And that's a tough way to judge, you know? When you watch an old director's early movies. It happens to me when I watch Tarantino sometimes too. Like when I watch Pulp Fiction, and then when I watch, say I watch a movie like Inglourious Bastards or Django, or Hateful Eight is one of my favorites that he directs, like cinematography-wise. And then I go back and watch Pulp Fiction. It's not the same. And I have to give him a lower score for it because the directing's not as good, in my opinion, and I think that's correct. So, the acting, I'm giving it a 9.5. This one could go between, I was struggling between a 9 and a 9.5. But Christian Bale slays it. I wasn't an amazing fan of his acting. I wasn't a huge fan of his accent, but who cares? I bought into it. I fucking thought he did great. It was almost a gangster movie, the way these two characters rose to superstardom, and you got to see Christian Bale's character change, and they throw so much shit in there with the alternate personalities and shit like that. Michael Caine, fucking perfect side character. Hugh Jackman, alternate role, alternate lead, fucking great. Scarlett Johansson, I was in love. My eyes were goo-gooed. The woman character is probably the only other reason. Her name was Sarah in the movie. The only reason why it's a 9.5 is because of that one fucking line, and that's not entirely true. A lot of her lines, I don't know. I didn't like her very much. I didn't like her acting. I didn't like her writing, and I didn't think Christian Bale's accent was perfect. So 9.5. So pretty fucking great, guys. Just not perfect acting, but pretty fucking close. The writing, I'm giving it an 8.5. Similar issues. There were some good quotable lines, but it wasn't, it left a little to be envied. Is that the right term? It left a little to be desired. That's what I'm looking for. Some great one-liners. Michael Caine offers some good advice. He's like, you never show the trick, because as soon as you show the trick, you're nothing to them. And Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman, they have some great dialogue together, but some of the lines were misdelivered, I believe, and I'm not putting that on acting. I'm putting it more on writing. Honestly, it might be a little bit of a tragedy to give it a 8.5. I might have to push this towards a 9. You might end up seeing on Instagram a lot of 8.7s and 9.2s. If I bump these in the middle like I really want to. The impact, I'm giving it an 8.5, and again, I struggle with this. This one could be a 9. A lot of tweeners with this one because it's a fucking interesting movie. So, why I like the impact so much? I talked about Aronofsky, the impact on Aronofsky, and I'm trying to think of some other stuff, but there was another director that came to mind that it seemed like this had influenced. But definitely I saw some Aronofsky in there. Somebody recently did a bunch of shaky camera work. Aronofsky does a lot of shaky camera work. He might have taken a lot from Nolan. Anyways, Anywho, the directing, so cinematographically, I think it had an impact. I don't know if genre-wise it did. It's a little bit of a psychological thriller-ish type. It did decently in the box office. Its budget was 40 mil. It ended up making about almost 60. So pretty good. All you can really ask for. And then, so then it comes down to the psychological aspect, and this is where I really go back and forth. So these two guys are obsessed with beating each other as magicians. Christian Bale accidentally, I don't want to give away too much because this is definitely a movie you don't want to be spoiled, so I won't. But there's a lot of metaphor play, I'd say, with this chasing of an illusion, a fake illusion, and I think that plays towards a lot of real life embodiments. Maybe something like money, chasing money, a fake just paper, but people chase it to their ends. They destroy themselves chasing it. And I think that's very similar to this. They call it the hidden man or something like that. The disappearing man. I can't exactly remember, but Hugh Jackman goes insane, loses his wife, loses his girlfriend. Christian Bale, I don't want to talk too much, but hey, they both go crazy. One of them ends up in jail. So that's the big message I took away from it. Then at the end, you're left thinking. It does leave you thinking because at the end they give you some twists and you're left to put it together. So it definitely impacted me. The question is how much, and how much do I think that purposeful emotional impaction with what was it, the whole metaphor of money and chasing and desires and throwing away everything for something so simple. I'm trying to think of a way to word how I feel about the ending without giving too much away. Give me a second here. If it comes to me, I'll say it. But if not, I'm between an 8.5 and a 9 there. You might see another 8.7 out there. Then the plot and the ending, I have to give 10s, and you already know how I feel about the magician thing. I fucking love it. For some reason, that just gets me giddy. Watching 1840s magicians. Like, if you thought Gangs of New York was a good plot, this is a better one. Scorsese directs Gangs of New York much better in my opinion. But kind of similar movies, kind of similar settings. This plot is unreal, guys. It's fucking great. And the ending's a 10 out of 10 for reasons why that you'll have to watch it to see. But yeah, I love the magician part. I love the dueling. I love the back and forth between them, the Christian Bale and the Hugh Jackman. It was fucking wonderful. My buddy I was watching it with said, "Oh, this movie's kind of like Billions, but with magicians instead of stockbrokers." And I haven't watched Billions, but that probably sounds like a pretty good way to describe it. I was thinking it was kind of like House of Cards-ish. They just keep always one step ahead, stuff like that. Yeah, in the end, I really can't describe what the ending is emotionally impactful with, but it has to do with being your true self and stuff like that. You'll have to see and decipher for yourself, but it's pretty impressive. It's a great movie, and so right now I have it down as a 9.2. I can't imagine anybody in the world being disappointed with this movie. I'd be fucking amazed. It ought to be 100 on Rotten Tomatoes, but we'll see what they end up giving it. Probably 8% of people were dickheads. I haven't checked. But anyways, 9.2, that could change a couple decimals. Likely up. I fucking like this movie. I just need to sink on it a little more. Try and figure out what I really could critique it for. But there ain't much, guys. It's great. This might end up being up to a 9.4 eventually. Watch this movie, guys. Watch it if you haven't seen it. Let me know your thoughts. I'll post this on Instagram here soon. Yeah, The Prestige, Christopher Nolan, 06. Fucking great. Fucking good-ass movie. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys watch this movie if you haven't seen it. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you let us know what you think about it. Yeah, have a great day, guys. I'll catch you on the next review. Uncle Swag, out.